Morning, everybody. It is 8:10 a.m. It is March 18th. Welcome to my channel. Crazy Friday. Actually, did pull back to key levels in the Nasdaq and the Qs or the S&P 500. So pull back to the 20 simple moving average in the SPY and pulled that back to a key level in the Qs, which held. And now this morning we're gapping up. All right, a lot of news with Apple possibly integrating Google's AI in their iPhones, which is pushing up Google and Apple. Nvidia has some conference gonna go happen this week, so all well in the markets again, right? That looked like a buy in the dip opportunity before FOMC. So we just have to see what shakes out today. All right. So welcome to my channel. Subscribe, set an alert if you can. If you enjoy the content, please give me a thumbs up. That'd be much appreciated. You could always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay? And without further ado, welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use volume profile, market profile, volume structure in the market, along with supply and demand, gamma exposure levels, anchor view ops, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the rolling week, and the previous day. This helps me find structure in the market basically. And it's just real easy for me to see and come up with game plans. That's why I gravitate towards the way I look at the market. It just gives me an easy way to look at it instead of just looking at candlesticks. I've been doing this a long time, decent amount of time now that I can look at candlesticks and get the same thing, but I just like it, make it easier on myself, right? Map out a game plan, right? And sometimes there's no trade, and that's my edge. All right, this is how I structure the market, and that is my edge. All right, so let's get right into this. Market's pushing even higher right now. So let's look at the watch list here in the futures. And Nasdaq's leading the pack, up 1.23% on a week that has FOMC. ES is up 0.81. VIX is up, right? Probably because FOMC this week. The Russell is up 0.59. Crude, I didn't get that long on crude, but that is proving to be the trade. Crude is moving higher. It's up 0.48. The Dow is up 0.25. Gold's up 0.12. Silver's up 0.04. 10-year hasn't reported yet. Dollar is slightly down. 30-year bonds being sold slightly. Bitcoin's down 0.53. Ether's down 2.15%. Moving on to Mag 7 Plus. Here we go. The big winner of the morning is Google. Google is Apple says they could integrate their AI into their iPhones. That's making Google surge this morning. Tesla is up 3.76%, and I don't really know why. I haven't seen any news, but hey, they're up. Nvidia's up 2.84%, monster. All right, so people are buying semis again after this dip. Snow beaten down. Apple is up 1.35. Meta is up 1.14. Those are the one percenters. Is there laggards? There is a little bit. Coin with that note offering is pulled back. Got a little love on Friday, but Bitcoin's not strong today. But that is holding. Okay. Microsoft's down 0.38. Boeing's been taking a big hit. All right. Finally, crushed that 200 level, and we're going at 180 right now. Roblox down 1.12. All right, moving on. Top sector stocks. All right, no surprise. Qualcomm Semi up 1.81%. PepsiCo got an upgrade. That's up 1.48%, followed by Salesforce. Eli Lilly. All right. Do we have laggards? Procter & Gamble down 0.08. Walmart's down 0.21. Let's go to my swing trades here. Let's see my swing trade list. Tilray, marijuana stocks getting some love. That's up 6.94%, followed by Vertiv up 3.76, and Micron. Micron reports earnings. When is that? 320. So this week. So they report earnings this week. Okay. Super Microcomputers up 2.78. Lucid, Avgo, that's Broadcom, Marvel, Semi, Palantir, Carvana, ARM, Semi, Soundhound, AI, the list goes on of the one percenters that are up. Let's see who's negative today. There's probably not going to be a lot. Let's see here. Just Bitcoin ETF's down 1.19, Mara's down 0.62, regional bank ETF's down 0.54. That's about it. Market's looking pretty bullish this morning. Risk on. And we go back to top sectors and move on to sectors. Okay. Moving on to sectors, no surprise here, almost up 2%. Jeez. Semiconductors up 1.91. I guess they're not waiting on Powell for FOMC. Communications up 1.46. That is Google. Technology 0.71. That holds semiconductors. So discretionary. All right. All the big sectors up besides healthcare. Utilities is the laggard today. Okay, along with real estate. And the strongest index this morning is the Qs. All right. That's would wrap up the watch list. Now for economic calendar and the news this week, we got big these are just upgrades and downgrades. Let me just see. Let me refresh this because sometimes this list gets updated. You can see PepsiCo got an upgrade, downgrades. I saw there's other downgrades here we can go over in a second, but I'm going to move over to the calendar for this week. All right. We don't have much today. You know, NAHB housing market index at 10 a.m. That's not much. Tuesday, not much either. Wednesday, you got the FOMC. Okay, that's huge. Thursday, jobless claims, Philly Fed, S&P Global Manufacturing PMI, and services, and then 10 a.m. existing home sales. Okay, and then you got some Fed bar speech, and then Friday Fed bar and Fed Bostic. All right, so the big things FOMC this week. Does the juice have anything this morning for us? Not really. Talked about Apple and talks with Google over AI and phones. Nvidia has a developer conference this week, and oil is being helped by strong Chinese data. That's what's going on there. And we can go over, I said we can go over some, let's see here. We got, who's in the market chatter? We got, Google, buy, Sony, Apple, Taiwan Semi. Let's see here. You'd see here. So we got some upgrades here. So the upgrades were that people care about. PepsiCo I talked about, right? That's really it there. The downgrades, though, Nike got a downgrade, but it's not getting hurt by that. Interesting enough. All right. And that's pretty much it for those news related things. That's really pretty much it. Let's go right into the daily charts. All right, so we'll just zoom in here. And what did we do? Right? It looked a little scary for price action on Friday. And initially, we did kind of like go down, bounced up, and then came down again, right? And what did we hit? That 20 simple moving average, right? And you have this trend line here that we actually broke and then kind of closed by it, okay? Kind of closed by it. So, and what did we close at? Almost last month's highs, okay? Almost last month's highs. So, closed underneath the 90-minute daily, but we closed above the 20 simple moving average. So that 20 simple moving average continues to be support. All right, now this morning we're gapping up pretty big. We're at 513.70, so we are at 513.70. We are all the way up here in the middle of this muddle, kinda. Okay, right up here, gapping up. Now, look at these candles here. Look at those candles for resistance here at that 517, 518. If we move back up there, that's gonna be another breakout point there. So really have to watch and to see what we do, prior to FOMC. But if we start to move up and FOMC is dovish, boy, that's a breakout point. All right, so let's look at the Qs. The Qs, okay, if we look at the Qs actually broke the 20 simple day moving average, right? Closed at the previous week's lows, okay, right there. Kept this trend line intact, closed below the 20 simple moving average. Now you haven't had one of those until the end of February here, February 21st, right? But usually when we don't get too far away from that 20, and then we pump back up, right? So now we close under that 20, but this morning we're up 438.46. We are all the way 438.46. All right, so we are right. Let's see, what was the high on Friday? That was 438.87. So we're not quite at the highs. We're close to the highs, right? SPY is actually above the highs. This is not, but obviously we're in the middle though. See this? I'm sure if I put a volume profile on here, we're like really in the middle of the balance here, right in the middle of this area. We're kind of like below last month's highs. Okay, so Qs doesn't have that beautiful setup the SPY does, right? So now we do have a little downtrend here that I have not put in. So right here, okay, pretty much right at that downtrend line. Okay, so we'll just have to see. You got FOMC coming. This is a little murky here. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at there. All right, let's move on to triple-headed monster, and we'll look at the 10-year yield, which definitely increased with this PPI. All right, so you can see yields are all the way up almost 5, came down, made a swing low, another swing low, and now they're rising again, right? Got resistance here at like 4.3. So it's really interesting. This FOMC is going to probably break us out of here. If it's hawkish, these yields will rise. If it's dovish, we'll come back down probably. So we got to keep an eye on that. Okay. This is your triple-headed monster. Now, as far as the VIX, all right, the VIX has pops of volatility here. You can see we came up here again, and look, 2 pops here, right? Came all the way up to 15.47 on Friday. Today we're at 14.52. It's definitely not down here at 13, so there's a tiny bit of fear. Now remember, the bond market, the yields are rising. The dollar, let's check out what the dollar is doing. The dollar is below the 200 day, below the 50, right? Hitting the 20 day. So let's see here, weaker dollar. See, the dollar is a little weaker, and gold getting stronger. All right, commodities like equities like a weaker dollar. Okay, so we just have to keep an eye on these. Those are really important things to look at. And we can move on to structure and the market volume, the market profile, the volume profile. So let's just go to that. All right. Let's get my trusty marker out. I didn't get that out yet. All right. Got multiple distributions in this profile, right? So we'll look at the weekly profile. There's one distribution. Here's 2 distribution. Here's 3 distributions. So we definitely been working our way down, 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 right? And we worked ourselves down all the way down to this low. Okay, which is happens to be the most traded price of the month, 51.65. That was support, and this little demand zone here was support on Friday. All right, because we opened here, pushed up, came down, then pushed all the way up to come all the way back down to come all the way back to the mid of the range. Right, so it wasn't all out bearish. Okay, there was some mixed things in the market too on Friday. It was like financials are strong, like so. Now, again, what else do we look at? Monthly VWAP. We're above monthly VWAP, so that means buyers are back in control for the month. They're starting out in control for the week-to-date VWAP. Okay, we closed below those on Friday, but now we're back above it with this big gap up, right? So we have, what do we have here? We have Friday's highs, Friday's lows, overnight low, overnight high. Okay, we opened right here in the overnight. This is the short to this much long. That's about 90% net long in the overnight, right? And you have single prints here that drove up this market, which a little volume here, right? So we are gapping up. So what are we going to look at here? Let's look at some certain levels here. We have a week low here. Now this is the most traded price of Friday, right? Happens to be also the overnight low, also the close. If we come back here, you could cause a little sell-off here and test the lows of Friday. Okay. Now you're in supply. So right now we're in a supply zone. Okay. And you're by a high volume node here. Okay, most traded price of the week is up here. Most traded price of the month is down here. We're in the middle, so you could do some ping pong in here. Okay, prior to FOMC. All right, so anytime we have this gap, okay, anytime we have this gap, it lines up. Now you have a big move up, right? So then you want to look at the 50% of this move of the overnights right here. Happens to really line up with a gap fill. Okay, now below that, look what you have here. You have monthly VWAP and week-to-day VWAP lining up with a demand zone here. So that's confluence. That's the name of the game, right? So if we're up here, right, my guess is, now there's a saying here from, you want to take it from Shadow Trader. I don't like stealing stuff, but I give credit to Peter Rezenchek from Shadow Trader, right? He always says old business gets taken before new business, right? Which means that right here, you're pretty much 95% net long, and you're at the top of the range into supply, and you have these single prints, right? So if people come in, get a little nervous, start taking profit, you can drop right back into this zone, which would be a gap fill, which would be a demand zone, monthly VWAP, and week-to-date VWAP. That could be a pullback point, okay? That's how that kind of works like that. So real quickly, gap rules are what? Right? Gap and go, very bullish, right? Pull back, fail to fill the gap, move higher, fill the gap, move higher. And the only outcome that starts to be not so bullish is if we move back into range. That means that's just the buyers are not as strong as we thought. Okay? That's what you need to look out for. All right, so if we look for scenarios today, all right, big gaps are never fun. They're hard to read. So me, I'm going to sit back, right? Like I said, one scenario that I'll be looking for, now you can see we're pulling back a little bit already. One scenario that I'd be looking for is that pullback. So we could even move up on the open and come through these single prints, and then it's a real fill the gap, demand zone, monthly VWAP, week to day VWAP, and really see how we react here. And then we could get a launch here. Now, like I said, FOMC is coming up. I don't know how much we go higher. Okay, you can see here there's a lot of shorts here that can get hurt. I don't know if we go and we just start breaking out here because of FOMC. I would think at most we probably come up here, but I don't know. That's just what I'm looking for, really. All right, gap and go probably will go without me. Okay, it's really what I see. Now, conversely, as far as the short side, all right, we are in supply. If you're just a bear, and like I said, remember we're in between two big levels: most traded price of the month, I'm sorry, that's the week. This is the most traded price of the month. Okay, you're in between these two. It's a lot of times that acts as a ping pong game. Okay, so in supply, you could say this: if we go like this, hit this level, this is also supply zone here, and then we get some lower highs put in, and we really get weak, you could take out these single prints right here, and then you can go here, and that might be it for the sellers. Okay, however, if you take out this demand, you kind of hold, then you got that weak low that I talked about earlier that you can test. If you take that out, we're probably going to go down to the most traded price of the month again. Okay, it's kind of what I see there. Who knows, with the Google getting that in Apple teaming up, that's probably pretty bullish. So who knows if that happens. All right, I think something else would have to happen news-wise for us to get that kind of movement. All right, so now let's look at the NASDAQ. Okay, let's see if the NASDAQ, how that looks. Okay, so the NASDAQ, let's see that profile. Now that profile is different. Okay, you have a little excess at the top, then you got one big distribution, and then a little distribution here at the bottom. Okay, so not as like many distributions as the ES. All right, and you can see, let's zoom this in a little bit. You can see here that we came all the way down and started to fill this gap. Okay, we filled the gap a little bit partially. I have it lined up now, I moved it, but we did fill some of this old gap. That's a huge gap below, right? I was like, wow, are we going to start filling this gap? Well, this morning it was a buy the dip opportunity, I guess, for the market. So you can see here what we did on Friday. We kind of pushed up a little bit, and then we fell down, went down to those lows, closed a little bit underneath the midpoint. Okay, and now what happens? Well, this is our open. This is the only short to this much long activity. That's a big move. Okay, so we're like almost 100% net long. Okay, at the top of the range here, we came right into a supply zone right there. Now there's a lot of big levels we're at now, so like I said, it is not a great really place when you're in the most traded price of the year, the most traded price of the month, or right in here. That is like a lot of high traffic area. Now you can see we use our anchor VWAPs as maps and gauges here. We're still below the monthly VWAP, and we're right at the week to date VWAP. The week to date, you don't put too much weight because we just started the week, but this monthly VWAP, sellers are still in control of the NASDAQ. ES, it's not. That has changed. Okay, very important. Okay, same thing here. We got a week low at the overnight low. Overnight low coincides with the close, coincides with the most trader price of Friday. So if we revisit this, this could cause us to go down and maybe fill that gap again. Okay, and that's just an important level to note. Okay, structure wise. Okay, we have the most traded price of the week is right here. Most traded price of the year is here, and month is here. So this area right here is very highly trafficked. That's why I'm saying in the triple Qs, you can just tell looking at the candlesticks that we're just in the middle of a muck for the Nasdaq. It's going to have to do a lot to cut through that, okay, prior to FOMC. That's why I said, oh man, this is like it made a move, but it made a move into a high trafficked area, right into supply. Okay. So again, I'm not going to go over the gap rules. This is Friday's high, this is Friday's low, this is the overnight low, this is the overnight high. We are gapping up almost 100% net long in the top of the range. Okay. A lot of times this is a recipe for a nice little fade. Okay, so and this is such a highly trafficked area that if we do come through, I would say you have to gauge it on these single prints. But if we fill these single prints and come all the way back to here, that's probably a decent high probability we do that. Okay, because you don't have a lot. There's a lot of resistance here. Okay, so let's go into scenarios for the Nasdaq. All right, same pretty much thing, because I'd say here's the gap fill. Okay, here's the gap fill, lines up exactly with the 50% move of the overnight. Okay, also, I'm sorry, the week to date VWAP is down here. So I was looking at this, that's actually not true. This is the week to date VWAP. So week to date VWAP and this demand zone and the gap fill kind of all line up here. That's what I'd be looking for possibly catching along after this fades back. Okay, doesn't mean it has to. That's what I'd be looking at. Okay, and if you break this demand, that is not a good sign. You kind of probably got to wait again to see what we do with this week low. All right, so again, this area is the area to catch a possible long. Okay, so if we can push up here, kind of come through this area and come back in here and really it's going to test this area, then you can probably, what I would say is you move up in here. You could balance off for the rest of the day, maybe get up here. That's what I'm seeing. A lot of resistance up there. Okay, now as far as the short side, you do have a nice little fade working in your favor right now. You got longs from here, longs from here. So you get all these people are long, all these people are long, right? If you get a little resistance in here, you push up into the supply and you can't hold it, and you come through that open lower high and you get weakness, and those single prints can get cleaned very quickly, and the next thing you know, you're back here to the gap fill and to this demand. Now it could end there, like I said, in the bullish scenario, right? And it could go back up. But if you don't, and you kind of kill that demand and you hold it, find acceptance, we could test this week low. We could bounce here, but if we break that, we could possibly start going down to Friday's lows and working into the gap. These are just scenarios. These are just what could happen, right? So, all right. I hope everybody enjoyed those scenarios, because that's going to do it. All right. That's going to do it for me today. I apologize for not being there on Friday. I had a nasty stomach bug hit me like in the middle of Thursday, and that just took me out bad. So I'm better now, but that just took me out. So hopefully you enjoyed my content. Give me a thumbs up. Oh, also you can follow me on Twitter. That's at Gonzo719. Okay. I hope the scenario is pretty clear, right? Big gaps are hard. Big gaps are very hard to trade, right? You kind of got to just sit there and be patient. You know, it's Monday morning. I saw volume. Volume's okay. And you know, right now we're in the morning when you have that big of a move up, you know, like I said, it's kind of ripe for people going to take those profits from prior to FOMC. We have to see though, right? Can we gap and go? We can, but the Qs, like I said, are just in a really tough area. So I hope everybody has a great day. Stay green, and I'll update and see everybody tomorrow morning.